Hey, I just want to make a little video before I leave the island. My flight is in an hour's time, and I know once I get home that the UK winter weather will hit me, Christmas will envelop me, and my thoughts and the immediate power of the experience will begin to dissipate. So I wanted to capture that for you, and for myself. I wanted to talk about the retreat and what that meant to me, how it's changed me as a person, what I've learned from it. And I've got no idea how this video is going to unfold. None of it's planned. It was literally me thinking, okay, I've got an hour to capture this, to capture the essence of what I'm feeling before I leave the island. So, here goes. Where do I begin? So, my retreat ended on Saturday. A week of totally immersive, mind, body, deep, connective, vulnerable, hugely vulnerable experience. One that I literally took a huge leap of faith, having never done this before, having never, at the beginning of this year, never even imagined it was on the horizon. I'd never met Daniel up until May this year. So many things came together this year and aligned so perfectly. You know, up until this year, I didn't believe in the universe conspiring to help me. I didn't believe in magic. I believed in things that happened that were coincidences and nothing more than that. But now I've seen so many powerful reasons to see that we aren't here in isolation. You know, where our focus goes, the energy flows. The universe really does help to come together to bring things about. And the more you accept that and trust the process, the more magic will turn up. As I taxied down the runway at Luton Airport on the way to Lanzarote, there was one thought that popped into my mind, totally spontaneously. It just popped into my head. And as we got faster and faster, and as we kind of took off into the air, I kept repeating to myself, trust the process, trust the process, trust the process. Because at that point, I'd packed my bag, everything I had to use was in that bag. There's nothing more I could do other than show up and be me. And that was hugely liberating and also terrifying. And the night before, the day in which all the participants came to the retreat, in their sort of dribs and drabs, and as their flights sort of came in during the day, that night before I was in a major panic. I was thinking, oh no, what if the beds haven't been changed from doubles to twin? And I was, yeah, it was interesting. And my mind, the inner critic, and everything within me was trying to resist and trying to find ways of sort of talking me down from this space of creation, this space of, empowerment. And it's because it's so unknown. There was nothing more I could do, and I was trying to control aspects of the situation. So it was really interesting to observe how I felt that Friday night before it all unfolded. And it's not to say there weren't issues during the retreat. I mean, the day we were collecting people from the airport, the tyre in the hire car got a puncture. So we sat for a couple of hours in a garage. Oh, little blip there, just ignore that. I'll stitch these together seamlessly. So we spent a couple of hours in the garage. The last two pickups were joined, so we ended up having a really full car with all this luggage in the back, having to apologise for the fact it was a little bit chaotic, but it was all fine. There was a couple of other interesting points when the dishwasher broke. Bearing in mind there was a house of sort of 9-10 people, we did a lot of washing up for those few days. And then at one point, the power decided to cut out. Something tripped the switch, and all the water went off because it was on a water pump. So there was an interesting few hours where we had to flush the loos with a bucket. But luckily, everyone was we all laughed. It's that situation where people could have got funny about the fact that they're having to flush the toilet with a bucket. But it was just part of the process, and you just roll with it, and it sorted itself out, and it didn't impact the experience at all. But those things I could have let bother me, I could have let get on top of me, I could have panicked, but again we just laughed at it. It was actually ridiculously funny. bring people on a kind of a luxury self-development sort of retreat, and they're having to go back to basics anyway. So where was I? But even with those, what you could call kind of little blips or failures or things going wrong, we just learnt so much from the entire process, and there was so much that went right. I mean, everything went right. Even those things went wrong. I mean, the food. It was an incredibly intense experience for me. I'm used to cooking for myself. So cooking for 9 people most days, 8 to 9, depending on when Daniel was with us for meals, was so full on. So full on. I mean, I got up at about 8 o'clock in the morning. I'd start breakfast. As soon as we had breakfast together, I'd be on to lunch, be on to dinner, because I wanted to go out for the walks and be part of the yoga experience. So I did all the activities along with the rest of the group, but in between, when people were just kind of chilling out and spending time with each other, I was in the kitchen, flat out. I mean, people were helping me. It was amazing. It was a beautiful opportunity, and everyone came together. We all pitched in. But I was, I didn't finish until 1 o'clock in the morning. 17-hour days, non-stop for 7 days. But the interesting thing, I didn't feel tired. I mean, and I got this really strange pain in my back as well. I don't know what that was about. So I was sleeping probably between 3 and 5 hours a night. Yet I felt so energised. I was in my element. I barely got a chance to go on Facebook. I didn't really switch my computer on other than to stream documentaries and things. But even though I was so full on intensely working, it didn't feel like work. It energised me rather than depleted me, and that was a huge experience for me. I can't even begin to describe how that feels. I was functioning on a few hours sleep a night, working 17 hours flat out, yet I felt alive and energised. So that's something for me to really deeply reflect. I mean, I guess the whole follow your bliss, find what your calling is, I mean, that showed up to me in a very powerful way, and it's something that I really want to challenge myself with more and experience more of. These immersive experiences. It wasn't just for the people around me, it was for me too. That connection and that sense of when we came together around the dinner table and shared so deeply. Food is a huge connective tool, a gateway to optimizing ourselves, not just nutritionally. Ignore the sound of the airplane. Not just nutritionally, but so it's a mind-body connection, creating that space to really come together. And food is so powerful. Physically coming together around a table, facing each other. And there were so many opportunities. We really dived into our dreams, our desires. And one of my, retreat participants, Jaina, who's totally blind, gave us all such a unique and important and empowering, I can't think of the right words to describe it, we got so much from her being there, as she did us, because there was one game we played around the table one evening in which we had to describe the person sitting opposite so that she could build a picture in her own mind of what we looked like. And then we compared it to how she'd sort of originally envisaged us. And it was just such, when would you have the chance to do that? When would you have the chance to, describe somebody? Why would you do that? It wouldn't, in other, in daily life, you wouldn't do that. Similarly, when we were out walking and we were guiding her over the rocks and things, it was amazing to be able to describe the textures beneath our feet. And when I was trying to help her jump over a little rock pool, that was an incredible opportunity for me to be in that moment. There's so much more I could talk about Jaina and the experience she gave us all. But everyone on the experience, every member of that tribe really brought something powerful. You know, the stories they brought, the reason for being there. I mean, I'm not going to go into detail now, but there was so much energy and vulnerability and willingness to embrace it. You know, emotional. People were in tears, and you know, there was a lot of laughing and a lot of crying, and I still have no words to describe it. And all this came from me, you know, from me. And yet a few months ago, this didn't exist. None of this existed. I had a deep feeling that I wanted to create powerful, immersive experiences, but I had no idea this was going to translate into a retreat holiday. And it has. And it just was so incredibly powerful. And for those of you who don't know the backstory, in January of this year, I originally came to Lanzarote. Totally by accident, actually. I decided in January this year that I'd go away on holiday on my own for the first time. I'd got a bit of a fear of flying on my own. I'd never done it, and I'd built it up to be this kind of big deal in my head, and I wanted to overcome that because it was a bit silly, and I was playing small by kind of not taking the leap. So I decided in January this year, I had a conversation with my coach. It wasn't so much a New Year's resolution, but in January this year, I was going to go away on my own at some point during the year. When it got to March time, I decided, you know what, maybe I'll go away for my birthday, which was in May. So I got an Airbnb, as I'd been recommended it, and I'd heard good reviews. And I thought, you know what, I'll check out places in Europe. Europe's an easy place for me to get to, being in the UK. So, you know, and I looked through probably hundreds of places. And just so happened I came across Daniel's villa here in Lanzarote. And, you know, I didn't know anything about him other than the little blurb it gave on the Airbnb site. But when I came out here and I lived his life for 10 days, I ate with the family who were practically vegan like me. I knew they were vegetarian from what it said on the website, but it just came together so powerfully. And then within a week of me coming home, he emailed me saying, I've been thinking about it, I've been meditating on it, and I think we should set up a retreat. I didn't have to think twice. And then I jetted back out there a few weeks later to look around villas. We found the perfect villa. And again, 5 months after that, the retreat happened. There's one more little story I want to share because it's something that was so powerful for me. And I don't want to forget about it. I've got a feeling I'm waffling on now. But if anyone watches this video, I hope you understand and can feel the energy of the experience that's still so powerful within me, even though I haven't got the words to fully describe it. There was one on the Friday evening, the very last night. We'd had our last supper together around the table. We'd had a few more tears. We'd played a little game in which I'd written everyone's name on a square of paper, folded up the paper and put them in a bowl. And as we sat down to eat, I passed the ball around the table and asked everyone to pick a name out. And then I asked everybody to share something that they'd learned from the named person, or something that they'd found very powerful or very inspiring, something, it doesn't matter how big or small, something that gave them so much from the retreat through that person. And it was so powerful, so deep, so intense. And then we carried on talking as we were eating, and we were in that vibe, we were in that moment. And none of us wanted it to end. And as I'd washed up and packed away dinner and everyone had gone to bed, I still was wide awake. You know, this is midnight and I'm still wide awake after, 7 intense days. So I decided that I'd wrap up in blankets and go and sit outside on the lounger. I had a little smile to myself because it was, 12:30 at this point, pitch black. And it was the first time I'd had all week to actually sit on a sun lounger. So it amused me. And as I laid there, and the sky was glittered with stars. It was a really beautiful cloud-free night. And I lay there for what probably was half an hour, just thinking, just contemplating, just processing, just beginning to take in the gravity and the depth of the experience that I'd just created. And then I began to feel a little bit chilly, so I figured I probably should get to bed. But just before I did so, I had the urge to say a little prayer to the universe, just my offering of gratitude, of thanks for this creation, for me, for everything that had come together to be exactly what it needed to be. And so I probably talked out loud, whispered my offering of gratitude for about a minute. But then right at the end of that, right before I'd had a chance to get my things together and move myself from the lounger, I was still staring at the sky, this beautiful lit night sky. And within about 2-3 seconds of me finishing my offering, a shooting star shot across the sky. A proper full-on shooting star, not sometimes when your eyes darting from star to star, you kind of think they're moving, but they're not. But this was full-on shooting star with a tail, it dissolved. And I mean, I was already feeling emotional, but this brought tears to my eyes. And, if there's a sign from the universe, that's it. There's no clearer sign than that. It was incredible. And yeah, I mean, so I didn't get much sleep that night, but woke up the next morning, totally energised, ready to rock that final breakfast. I made a big baked oatmeal. We all sat together. We all made the time, even though there were some people leaving at 9 o'clock in the morning for their flight. We all made the time to come together for that last breakfast, and we just didn't want to leave. It was such a powerful experience. And I keep saying the words powerful, and I feel like I'm overusing them, but I don't care. And the most amazing thing is, it's now 9 o'clock on Tuesday morning. My flight goes in about half an hour, so I'm going to have to quickly grab some breakfast and get to the airport. But last night, we got the next date for our retreat in March. So it's all happening all over again. The energy, will still be there. In less than 3 months' time, I'll be back and creating magic all over again. And hopefully again and again and again. Who knows where 2006 will take me, but I am so excited. And if you're listening to this, I hope you join me for the ride. I think I'm done now. I don't know how long I've talked. And I've got no idea who will listen. And part of me doesn't want to hit stop on this recording, because when I hit stop, it means I'm going home. And if I keep talking, I stay here in this energy. I'm still in the retreat. I'm still part of the magic of the island. And they say all good things come to an end. But I think this is just starting. It's just beginning. Something incredible happened last week. It really is just the beginning. And I want to share this with as many people as possible. I want to share this energy, not just of Lanzarote, not just of the retreat, but of the impact of this immersive experience with the food, with the coaching, with the people. It's the power in the people. I'm just facilitating this. I'm not somebody special. I'm just creating a space for the magic to occur. And the more I can do that, and the more people I can reach through that, then I know I'll have found my bliss, my calling in life, and my reason for being on this planet. Take a final breath, breathe deeply, breathe in the magic. God, I'm turning into such a hippie as well, it's hilarious. I've got my hippie pants on, and I have so much love for you. See you soon.